Hello everybody to the fourth lesson of CSS for attractive design. And this lesson we will know the color and how to deal with this color. So the color is so important things. So the color could change a design from a simple design to so attractive, so wonderful design. So in this lesson we will know how many ways that we have in CSS to deal with color. Could we deal with color with many types, with many ways? Yes, there is, I think, three or four ways that we could deal with colors, either with the color name, or with the color with the hexadecimal, the decimal, or the RGB, which means red, green, blue, or the HSL, which means hue, saturation, and lighting or lightness. Now we will know them all, and we will know how to deal with or how to change the HTML element with these color types. So let's go to the code. And so what do we have? For example, here we have an HTML tag. This HTML tag, I will say h1, and here I'll write, for example, this is let's say this is CSS. So this is CSS color test. Okay, so here I will write, for example, let's say a class or ID. Let's say ID. We will use the ID selector, and I will say here its name or color name. Color name. So now I will go to the style tag and change that that text or that h1 tag color. So let's go to that style and define or call that ID. We understand the previous course, in the previous lesson, how to change or how to call the element with ID. So just write the hash and the name of the tag, which is color name here. Then we will open that and we will write here the color, for example, or any element we need. Let's see the background color. Okay, background color. Background color here we'll change it, for example, with name. So we have with name, so it's blue. You could change the name. So we have many colors that we have their names. We know it, which is like blue, green, red, and so on. So these colors are identified with HTML browsers, and they are already known. But there's another another color that is not common, means nobody could know them. So let's save that and see how is this name color working. So let's go to the page and refresh. So this is the color that we have changed with the name. Okay, so another way is to change the color with another thing, which is the RGB. So I will write here RGB color. So let's copy that ID and call it here. I will say hash and the name of the ID we have, and here we could change the color. Let's see background color, and we have here RGB. So I'll write here RGB, then the parentheses, and then here we could write the thing, the color value that we need. The RGB stands for what? The RGB means R means red, G means green, B means blue. So we could write here the values that we want. So for example, everyone could have from 255. So for example, here if I say 255, which is for the red, and the second is 0, the third is 0. So now if I refresh the page, this code would be red. Why? Because we have given the red, which is the first parameter, we give it the full value, which is red. So if I give that to 0 and I give to the second to, for example, 255, okay, the value will be green. Why? Because we have the second element, which is green. Imagine that I haven't given the full value. I have given, for example, 100. What would be? It would give you a green value, but with a little or a different from the high value that we gave before. imagine I have give here 100 and there 100 and the last one 100. What would be the result? The result would be a different color, which we combine them and we give the color. If I put 0 0 0 for all them, the color will be black. So look, the color has been changed to black. So you could manipulate these values to change the color that you need. So in our case, we will change it, for example, to red, or to, let's say, I will say here, for example, the red I will give it 200, the green I will give it, for example, 50, the other one I will give it, the blue I will give it 100, for example. Let's save it and see what we have here. It's the color. It is great. Okay, no problem. We have the third part of coloring, which is the after the RGB we have the decimal, or we call it for example, we use the decimal numbers, which we call it here the the hexadecimal, if you know the hexadecimal. So how we write them? We will write here, for example, hex, and we will see, copy that ID, and here I will print hash, then the name of the ID. Now I'm calling the ID selector. Then here we could see background color, and we could change it with hash and putting the value that we want. So we have 6F, there are 6, so the color would be white. Okay, but if I change the value to 0 0 0 0 0, so it contains of 8 variable, 8 letters, which is 8 zeros, so the value is black. If I could change it, for example, I will see here the hexadecimal goes from 0 to F. So the hexadecimal, for the people who don't know that, we could go from 0, then 1 2 3 4 5 till 10, then after 10 it go A, then B, then C, then D, then A, then F. So this is the hexadecimal. So there are 16 numbers, 0 to 10 they are 10, then 11 12 13 14 15, then 16. So these values are the hexadecimal. So you could put any value of them here. For example, I will see here C, then A, then 0, then 3 2, any value you need it, then 6. Okay, 7. So let's see what type of that color. It's great. So you could manipulate that from from 0 to 9, then A B C to F. So this is the hexadecimal. So you could change them and manipulate them as you want. So the first 2 letters for the green, for the red, for example, if I see it here FF and the others is 0 0 0, it would be red. If I change that to 0 0 and the others, for example the second one, which would be the green, it's like the RGB but with hexadecimal values. So the first 2 letters is for the red, the other 2 letters, which is the other 2 zeros, is for the green, the last 2 zeros is for the blue. So if I say now here, I will say AA, the color would be blue, but not with the full value. So the full value looks like that. So that the full value. So great. So this is the second part. The third part, which is the hue, saturation, lightness. How we could define that? The hue, saturation, lightness is has an abbreviation which is called HSL. The hue, HSL, hue, saturation, and lightness. How we could define them? I will copy this selector, and here I will write hash and the name of that ID, and now we could write here the code that we have, background color, and we could write the color here. So I will write, for example, here 0 100, for example. So I'll write HSL, and I'll write here 100, 100, 100. Let's refresh the page and see what we have. Nothing. I mean, yes, we should put the percentage, I mean. So we have here a percentage. So let's refresh. Where is the percentage here? Sorry. So I mean, we should put here the percentage, and the first one, for example, the hue should be 0, and the other one should be, for example, that value. For example, refresh, it would be white. If I yeah, because the 100 and 100 is, the saturation and the lightness is 100. If I said it would be 10, and the other one would be, for example, 18. Let's save it and see what we have, what type of color we have. So we could manipulate from 0 to 100. Okay, so here the lightness would be, for example, let's see, 100. Let's save it and refresh, and it would be white, but not 100. Let's see, 90. Refresh, it will be like this. So the lightness controls the how is the color light, how is it close to white. If it is 0 means it's dark, it's 50, it would be in the middle, and with that way you could control the color that you need. Okay, so what do we mean? I mean, all the color that we have taken is so clear, except that one, which is hue, saturation, lightness. What do we mean with these things? What is the hue, what is the saturation, and what is the lightness? I mean, we will go with them and we will see now what they mean with that things. The first thing, which is the let's start with the saturation. Okay, so what is saturation? Saturation can be described as the intensity of a cubic, or of a color, I'm sorry. So it means how it is intensity. So it could be 50, it could be 30, and you could manipulate it. The second one, which is the light, it determines or describes how much light you want to give the color, how much the color is close to the white, which is the light color. Then we have the first. The hue is a degree on the color wheel from 0 to 316, so a circle. So we could divide it, for example, from 0 to 120 for red, and then from 120 to to 100 to 140 is for blue. Then from 240 to the 360 is for the other one, which is the blue. So we have RGB, it's the same. So the first 120 and 120 is for the red. Then from 120 to 240 is the double value, is for green. Then the rest is for the blue. So this is the hue that we could use it. For example, here if I write 200, it would be the value of what? The blue, the green. So when we merge the green, and if I put in here 0, it would be absolutely nearly to the green. Okay, so this was the lesson. There's another thing that we could talk about, which is the opacity. If I need to add opacity to anything or any of these elements, the RGB, we could add the opacity with RGB A, or the HSL, which is the hue, saturation, lightness. We could add also A. For example, here I will add A, and I will add here a value, which we write it, for example, let's say 5, dot, then 5, which means half, the half value. Let's refresh and see what we have. So the color here changed. Why? Because we changed the opacity. Here also we have A, which we have here the value of that, and we could put it, for example, so let's see 5 at the same. So it's not it's not so difficult, it's easy. So now if I refresh, it would be the opacity lighter. You know, the opacity, it's sometimes needs you to put it in a suitable place that could make your design attractive. And that was the lesson for this session. We have studied the color name, the RGB color, and the hex color, and the HSL, which is hue, saturation, lightness color. I hope it's clear, this lesson, and see you in the next. Bye for now.